Hey boys and girls, let's talk about reptilinks. Are they the hot dogs of the future or just a science experiment gone wrong? Can this food really be the perfect alternative for your reptile, coming in a number of different flavors, or are we really just reinventing the wheel that really doesn't need to go? Ain't broken, don't fix it, or is it an actual problem here that should be addressing is in being addressed? Although those words probably didn't make sense, hopefully this video does. Stick around while we talk about reptilinks. The good? Are they good? Or are they not? Let's get into it. How's it going? My name's Dakota. I've been using reptilinks for a couple of years now, I want to say, and now usually when I do these types of videos, I do it with like feeding a bunch of reptiles, because if you guys are new to the channel, you probably don't know, I used to have a lot of reptiles, like a lot of really big, cool, impressive animals. However, just like Icarus flew too close to the sun, my roof caved in into my house and had to move, and we had to rehome most of those large lizards. So we'll still show off the feeding on some of the lizards, show them how much they do enjoy reptilinks, and then I'll do a little bit of a FAQ. That is frequently asked questions for you normies out there. So let's get into it. Alrighty, you can already see he knows. It's dinner time. Almost had me for a second. So the one thing I find that he does try to do is he'll try to jump right out of here. I think this camera might ward him off from doing that. You can see he absolutely digs these reptilinks. He goes crazy for them. Pooped a little bit over there, young man. So you can see he gave himself a little cut on his mouth. I find this is a weird phenomenon with monitor lizards. Sometimes they get so rambunctious and so excited for food that they'll sometimes bite their mouth, so you can see just like that little bit of blood coming out. Should be fine. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Make sure if anything looks for it or progresses any further from like infection, then you're going to want to treat that. But for now, reptiles, man, they're a pretty robust species of animal, right? They're not as fragile, I feel, as people really make them out to be. So 99% of the time it's going to be okay. Which might be a little bit of a crazy one, but I'm sure he's going to be fine. Just a little bit of an ouchie. Alright, buddy, last one for being such a good boy. Next up is the tegu lizards. Note that they do have a UVB bar. I simply just turn off the UVB because it fucks up with the white balance and it's hard to get a pretty shot. So it'll be turned on right as soon as we're done with this. No, Blue, you open your mouth. There you, oh my goodness. So I like to be a little bit on top of it with this pair. So one of them, they always have something in their mouth so they don't try to go after the same piece of food. I cut up Bertha's just because you can see she's like slightly smaller as a tegus when we first got her. And Blue's just as gentle as you can get, man. Blue's just like, yeah, I'll take that little food. Looks like he had a bit of a blowout shed. It's kind of all over the place. We'll have to take care of that, give him a little soak after. No, no, no. What the Bertha? Well, alright. Good boy. Alright, last one. Oh, those were some cool feeding montages. Absolutely impressive. But we still have to hit that mid-reel mark. God, by God, I hope I can fluff enough for this. So let's actually talk about some frequently asked questions about reptilinks. I know they're not necessarily the new thing on the block like they used to be. However, I'm sure there's still plenty of people that either don't know about reptilinks, never tried them before, or just hate their guts for whatever reason. I don't know if that third category exists. Maybe there's a cult about them. There's a million possibilities at the end of the day. Frequently asked question number one is going to be, do reptiles eat them, or will they take them willingly? Now, as I mentioned before, I used to take care of multiple tegus, Argus monitors, Ackie monitors, a bunch of quince monitors, blue-tongued skinks for a little bit, everything in that point. A lot of lizards, really. I did also feed to some snakes as well, king snakes, ball pythons, and a couple of like offshoot stuff like the savu, things like that. And I can confidently say that I never really had an issue. Let's say 95% of the time they would easily take them, or it would just take a little bit of that little starvation tactic of if they don't eat it, then wait another week, try again, then they will eat it. Yeah, right now at this point in time, there's only been one animal that has refused, and that right now is my Amazon tree boa that's just recently came here like a month or two ago at this point. I tried that method. We went a little bit. He just wasn't getting accustomed to it, so I ended up going back with the just frozen mouse for that guy. I'm also not using reptilinks. However, I'm also not... However, I'm also... What? However, I'm also not using any of the reptilink scents that they have for those little hard to pick. I find tree boas to be a little bit more difficult, or tree snakes. Like we can talk boegas, emeralds, green tree, and then the Amazons. I find them to be a little bit more picky when it comes to their food, so I'm sure if I actually used some of the reptilink scents, I could get them pretty easily. I was just lazy at this standpoint and didn't think about it until I was making this video right now. Question number two, Dakota, isn't it not whole prey anymore because instead of feeding a whole animal, you're feeding a hot dog? I mean, that can't be as nutritionally valuable as just feeding them the frozen thawed animal. You would be wrong, because it's still the same animal, just ground up. It's just in a different format of animal. As my understanding goes, reptilinks uses the whole animal in the casing. They basically just ground it up into a ground meat and then put the casing in. So you shouldn't lose any of the nutritional value than you would by feeding something like a frozen thawed mouse versus a reptilink. Question number three, Dakota, the price. Reptilinks are so much more expensive than just getting your rodents. And to be honest, I don't know too much about that. As you guys can clearly see from all around me, I'm not a snake dude, which snake people usually use most of these stuff. For me personally, I was a monitor lizard, and now I'm actually pretty much a gecko guy at this point. So I don't know too much of how the cost rates when you start getting to those larger options. Like if you're a BCI or BCC breeder and you need like jumbo rats, I'm sure it might not be as cost efficient to get the reptilink versus that, but I don't really know because it's not really my market or really where I go to. My personal experience of getting the rodents that I needed for the size of monitor lizards that I had before, I would say it's pretty similar in price. The reptilinks might be a little bit more, but nothing where I would have been like clicking add cart and then being like, oh, whoa, this is way too much money. No, I need to just go get some mice like always. I never really thought that. I figured they were kind of the same price. Even if it is a little bit more expensive, just the convenience of having these little link options, them defrosting a hell of a lot faster than your frozen thawed mice or rats or whatever you're using, and then the fact that, as I mentioned a little bit in that feeding video, able to cut them up, I save costs by not getting multiple different sizes of animals. I used to get the same size mice, and then I would have to cut the mice up for the smaller monitor lizards or the younger ones, and it was gross. It was like not a fun time to do. With reptilinks, it's a lot easier. I'll pay that extra like, I don't know, $10, $15 that it might be more than what my usual order of rodents are, literally just so I don't have to deal with like rat guts and blood and all that stuff leaking out. It was not a good time, I promise you. Now, one big bonus thing that I really do like about reptilinks is the fact of the multiple variations of flavors that they come in with the browned animals that you're getting. Now, for like the longest time, and I think this is like the whole time that we've been keeping reptiles. It's usually like mice, rats, quail, and then, you know, for the bigger things, you get pigs, rabbits, quail. But for these are gonna be our biggest three, is people are gonna be feeding mice, rats, and if they wanna get exotic, they're gonna start doing quail or chicks or something like that. Those seems to be like the most popular options and the ones that are used the majority of the time when feeding reptiles. Reptilinks, there are like other flavors, which I think is pretty cool at getting a variety of diet of the animal. They're not just constantly eating the same rodent again and again and again for the 15, 20, 25 years that the animal's gonna live. You can switch it up a little bit. A little bit of enrichment goes a long way, I think. Just adding variety in the diet, I think, is a pretty cool thing for the animal. Yeah, that's my spiel today. Reptilinks, I give a thumbs up. I've been using them for a while. If I thought they were just kind of like junk or none of my reptiles would eat it, I wouldn't continue to be sponsored by these people or continue to feed off their products. I think it's a good quality brand and it's something I truly believe in. If you want to try Reptilinks for yourself, you can actually use code DBCB. I know it's very confusing. That's why I changed my business name to Dakota Blue Exotic instead of DBCB, so I'll have it right there for you so it's easier to remember. And you guys can get, I want to say it's like 10%, 15% off. It's a percentage off. You save money. I remember that part. And then as always, folks, if that wasn't enough for you, we got this video right here. You'd be interested in this playlist of the large lizards that we used to have, but no longer keep anymore, unfortunately. First, thank you so much for taking the time of your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you guys next time, but until then, goodbye.